Good evening, champions, and welcome to Ep.3 of the Collateral Sports Podcast. My name is Wusty, and as usual, my co-host with me tonight is Lockie. Thank you for joining us, and while we catch up this week in sports. The NRL Grand Final took place last night, so we'll be getting straight into that, followed by the NFL, and we'll finish up the show with some NBA.
Yeah, look, we've got an exciting show lined up, but no better place, Wusty, I reckon, than start with a tumultuous game that was last night, and that was the NRL Grand Final featuring the South Sydney Rabbitohs and the Penrith Panthers, and what was an interesting Grand Final, but I think it's far from one for the ages.
Look, it's definitely one I'm going to try and forget about. It's obviously good to make the grand final, so you don't want to take that for granted, of course. But man, we were in it, and then a couple calls. You can't go blaming too much, obviously. Congratulations to the Panthers on winning that one last night. I don't know if you can tell on my face right now, but I'm kind of hanging a little bit because I think I was up till like 2 o'clock trying to forget about the game. Um, but no, like, look, NRL, everyone loves the grand final. It was a good game, but man, yeah, let's just jump straight into it, shall we?
Yeah, look, I think if we look back on the game that was in the Grand Final, it was a, a grand final that started with a lot of intensity, but I think very quickly it started to wither out, or it started to peter out. I guess you could say. I think the intensity really started to drop off towards the end of the first half, but defensively wise, Penrith just looked all over South Sydney. And I think in a lot of ways in the second half, South Sydney dug a lot of their own grave, which is what we saw Penrith do to Melbourne only last week. We saw a great side uh, come up and get in the face of Melbourne, and we started to see Melbourne start to make mistakes because of that pressuring Penrith defense. So I wonder, have Penrith won this game on their defense, or is it their great attack? And I think it's got to be their defense.
It's a mixture of both, but yeah, definitely the defense. It sounds funny to say, but they seem like they're the best at forcing unforced errors. They're not doing too much to do it, but every time their last couple of games, everyone's just been knocking the ball on. Credit to their defense though. That first 20 minutes of the game was an absolute. It was just rough as for South Sydney. Panthers were entirely all over us. It was just forced dropout after dropout. Matt Burton ends up getting over for a try. Like I think it was like 15 minutes in, and it was a try that we've seen all year. It was very common for him. And it looked pretty bad at that point. I was like, oh no, we might be in for a blowout. But then Cody Walker does like the best run, and he's ever probably done all year easily, where he just breaks straight through the line and fence Nathan Cleary back to New South Wales. Man, I know we're watching it together, and it was like such a moment, and like it really instilled a bit of hope. And then like the only other noteworthy things in the entire first half was just the penalty kick at the end of the first half to put Panthers up 8-6. So yeah, we're going into that second half like looking really good. Like it was anyone's game, and unfortunately, it all just come down to an unforced error from that Cody Walker pass, and all he had to do was just pass it to the inside, and he had Gagai to straight middle, and he tried getting cute with it, and then Crichton gets the interception, and bang, we pretty much never came really back from that. We got the try towards the end, obviously, with AJ on the sideline. Another thing we've seen all year, and then like everything was just beautifully written for Adam Reynolds to hit that kick. Like that was the storybook there, and he just doesn't put enough on it, and then that's just the ball game. So yeah, look, it was definitely one that hurt.
Yeah, I think looking back on it, I think the refereeing actually wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And so I think on that side, it was actually nice to see a grand final decided where it wasn't some really controversial refing that
Yeah,
that saw the difference. Obviously, we saw Jerome Luau tried his best to milk a crusher tackle, but the refs kept saying play on, despite how long Jerome wanted to carry on with it. And so obviously we were watching the grand final together at the time, and we were really impressed with. Is it Jared Sutton that was refing that one? I think so. And
I
we were
believe so.
we were really impressed with how he handled that situation and just got Jerome to play on instead of getting
Yeah,
caught up on that and almost Jerome trying to force him into taking it up to the bunker and seeing what was going on. So I was really happy with the refing side of it, but I think it was gameplay that you won't look back on and think, wow, that was really cool to look at. It wasn't there was nothing flashy about that. It was
yeah.
just like I said, I really do believe it was really good Panthers defense, and that's what saw them get across the line. Cool little story was, I don't know if you saw this one floating around your socials today, Wusty. Brian To'o, uh, he proposed to his girlfriend right at the end of the match. Um,
Yeah, I did see that, and good on him. Congratulations to him too. There was also a cheeky video of him giving her like a little lap dance
yeah.
in the sheds after, and he kind of accidentally roundhoused her a little tiny bit. So I'm sure she's fine. I'm sure they're still celebrating, but yeah, congratulations to him. And winger of the competition definitely deserved as well for Toto. I don't know any other wingers in NRL history that average like damn near 200 meters gained a game. So yeah, no, congratulations to
And
him.
deadlifts 200
But,
kilos.
yeah, and then deadlifts the exact same amount. It probably lifts more than everyone else in that. Um, I know that just before we do finish up on the NRL, congratulations to Adam Reynolds on a very successful South Sydney Rabbitohs career. The last game he played, for us was pretty shocking though. I know we got the flowers out of the way. The kicking game, I think the defense definitely, but the kicking game decided the game of the night. Cleary's kicking was just absolutely phenomenal, and Reynolds looked like it was his like first game kicking out there. Just in some bad spots, doing some bad kicks, and just taking all the pressure away. He'll forever probably be the all-time point scorer for the Rabbitohs, and no one's probably ever going to take that away from him. So congratulations on that. But man, with that performance, he's going to fit in pretty well for the Broncos next year.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was interesting to see Reynolds, such an experienced player, struggle so much to kick the ball last night. Like,
Yeah.
and it wasn't even necessarily the way he was kicking the ball. It was where he was putting himself, setting himself up to kick on the fifth tackle. That was also really bizarre. Like, time and time again, we saw him right up at the line or the ruck of the ball to kick, which was it's so unnecessary. He refused to give himself a bit of room to kick the ball. But I don't know if that was amplified. And I think it was amplified by the fact that Penrith are just in your face defense. Like you mentioned it a lot last night that how quick it feels like they get up from the line
Yeah.
and they just to
Yeah,
you
that
so
line
quick.
scene is disgusting. Yeah, it almost makes them feel like they're offside every time, but they're not, I
Yeah,
guess. Like,
yeah,
but yeah, you're 100% correct. Their line speed, their intensity just hangs in there all game.
yeah. And so credit to them. Penrith Panthers, the 2021 Premiership winners. Much to your disdain, Musty, but we won't hang around on it too much longer just to ease the pain a little bit.
Appreciate it, mate.
Why don't you move us on to our next topic of the evening, and that is...
Yeah, well, near and dear to my heart, guys. Today, right now, we're going to be talking about the NFL. So we should have the scorecards popping up on the screen. We got our game. We got kicked off with the Jaguars and Bengals. Bengals ended up taking this one 21-24. It was an interesting game. It was a good game to start off with. Didn't really see the outcome of this one coming. I've seen the outcome, just not how we got there. The Jags defense made that first half, played like it was 2017, and they were the second best ranked defense in the whole comp. Absolutely unreal. But towards that second half, obviously Burrow ended up just taking over 350 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bengals ended up winning by a late field goal. It's encouraging signs definitely for the Jaguars. They still remain winless, but they probably would have beat a lesser team. Unfortunately, the Bengals are just that hot at the moment. Trevor Lawrence had a couple massive throws. They just couldn't hold on. All in all, the Jaguars surprised a lot of people, including me.
Yeah, I think you've got to give credit to the Jags. I was messaging you relentlessly in the middle
Oh,
of this game because
couldn't believe my eyes.
it was really looking like the Jags might get up, and I was getting stuck into Wusty all week, joking that the Jags would win, and he had a little bite at the bait I was tossing out in front of him, and he really revved up about how the Jags are awful, and it turned out the Jags turned up the play, but it's a credit to Trevor Lawrence. I think this was always going to happen on a really bad team. Trevor Lawrence was going to take some time to really adjust to the NFL and do what he can with. He's never had a team this bad, ever,
Correct.
and not even
Yep.
close to this bad. He's always had great teams. Hence why he only lost a couple of games all through high school and college.
Yeah, he's
He
already
didn't lose a
lost more
game at all
games
in
in the
college.
NFL.
Um,
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
and so it was always going to be a struggle for Trevor Lawrence to kind of find his feet. And it was always going to be harder work for him to settle into the NFL than probably any other quarterback getting drafted.
Yeah, well,
But
Bengals are the bank. I mean, Jags are the Jags. Yeah.
But having said that, I think he played really well in the first half. Second half, he probably started to wither away a bit. That was probably to be expected with the Jags. Um, but credit to him, like if we can see more of that first half action kind of spread out across a whole game, we might see Jags get a couple wins this season. Like they're not going to make playoffs by any stretch of the imagination. but we might. I think the win for the Jags, we're just getting some wins on the board and just getting some confidence around Trevor Lawrence and the rest of the boys have got and then what they've got going on there.
Oh, definitely. They just need a couple wins. As soon as they start to see a couple of those dubs, like it's going to lift that locker room up so much. But it's hard to keep playing with that intensity and just not win a single game. Luckily though, the Jaguars are used to that as a franchise, so familiar territory indeed. So cool. So let's just keep this one moving. With our next game of the morning, we had Titans versus Jets. Another overtime thriller that we had. The Jets get up 27-24. Look, Titans had no AJ Brown, no Julio Jones. Still had King Henry, but he ran for 170 yards. Zach Wilson probably played his best game he's played as a pro so far, throwing like 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. That defense, though, was unbelievable. CJ Mosley, Quincy Williams. Titans missed a field goal to tie in extra time. They lose the game. Next, we had Chiefs and Eagles, 42-30 to Chiefs. Look, Kansas's defense is absolutely tragic. Homeboy had to throw 5 touchdowns just to keep him in this one. Tyreek Hill only ran for 186 yards and 3 touchdowns. When you're letting Jalen Hurts, who we all seen last week, have 430 total yards and 2 touchdowns, you're in trouble. Philly are not that guy, pal, and they are testing the Chiefs out. Chiefs really need to tighten that up. Next, we had the Panthers and the Cowboys, another game that was closer than I expected. This one went 28-36 to the Cowboys. Panthers still without CMC. Darnold had 2 very bad timed interceptions. Otherwise, they really were in this one. Zeke Elliott runs for 143. I didn't think see it being that close, but good win to the Cowboys. Keep it moving. Giants and the Saints. What is happening this week? It's absolutely multi-destroying week. Giants end up winning 27-21 over the Saints. Danny Dimes just had a day. 400 yards, 2 touchdowns. Another fun fact, I don't know when the last time both New York teams won in the same week. So that's kind of a cool one. But yeah, Saquon ends up in overtime, just punching that ball in for the game-winning touchdown. And yeah, congratulations to the Giants. Saints, I have no idea what to expect from the Saints, and I don't think anyone does this season. Browns Vikings, great defensive game. Browns 2-headed monsters of Chubb and Hunt. Just is going to run that ball all day. Good game, not exciting, but a good defensive game. Lions Bears 14-24 to the Bears. Man, Lions would be very disappointed starting off 0-4. I bit the hype. I think they're a better team than what they are. The coach came out before this game and said they wanted to get DeAndre Swift more involved. He didn't get involved. Not as bad as the next game, Texans and Bills. Bills 40, Texans 0. Yep.
Yeah,
Colts Dolphins. Yeah. Oh man, what? I'm not even going to waste any time on that one, to be honest with you. Colts Dolphins, 27-17. Look, desperately needed win for the Colts, who are struggling with all the injuries they have, especially to their quarterback Carson Wentz. He needed that dub. Good for them. Washington Falcons, 34-30 to Washington. Scary Terry, beast. Only had a pair of touchdowns, 120 yards. Falcons aren't great, but you'll take those wins. Not much defense going on there, but a whole bunch of offense. So it was a fun game to watch. Seahawks 49ers, 28-21 to the Seahawks. Jimmy G, it's like a story we've heard for the last, I don't know how many years now. Injured at the end of the first half, doesn't come back on. Trey Lance gets his start and is finally playing meaningful snaps. And he looked fantastic running the ball to start off with. He missed his first 5 passes, but then I think he converted like 4 fourth downs in a row, which they needed to do, but he did it. Like, absolutely incredible. Look out for Trey Lance. Now he's finally going to get a bit more time. Cardinals, Rams. I know you were gutted about this one, mate. The Rams were looking absolutely on fire, but Cardinals, just a little bit too stacked. They had no answer for the run game of the Cardinals, which usually beat you over the top. Rams did a good job of shutting that down, but just couldn't stop them at the line. Murray, 300 in total yards, 2 touchdowns. My personal MVP pick of the season. I'll say it this week, and I'll say it every week. Get on that one.
Do you think Kyler Murray's better than Lamar Jackson?
Ooh, I think Kyler Murray has a better chance of winning the MVP than Lamar Jackson.
I had someone message me today and tell me Kyler Murray has a better all-around game than Lamar Jackson.
I would say he's a better passer of the football.
He said he can run the ball like Lamar and pass it better than Lamar.
I wouldn't say like Lamar. He can run the ball. I wouldn't say like everyone gets an opinion, but I agree that I think he can pass better than Lamar can, but no one runs the ball better than Lamar can. And if someone says that, they kind of just like lose their whole they're just disqualified from having an opinion on the topic. No one runs the ball better than Lamar Jackson. Then that's just like quarterbacks. I don't know how you could actually make that argument. Too cool. So we'll keep this one moving. Another one we have for the night. We're going to highlight this bad boy. Because one of our teams actually won this week. We had the Steelers and the Packers. Packers end up getting up 27-17 over the Steelers. Pretty much expected for this one, guys. The Pittsburgh strugglers continue. Big Ben is having to throw the ball way too much for how banged up his O-line is and how old he is getting on to be. 26 attempts, 26 out of 40, 230 yards. The rookie, Najee Harris, running back, finally got his first rushing touchdown and looked good, but they just fell behind way too early to really start giving him the ball anymore. Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, just a little bit too balanced and too good for the Steelers. Like I said, they have got a lot of injuries, but they can't rely on Big Ben to win games by himself anymore. He needs a lot of help, and that team has a lot of injuries. But yeah, 17-27 Packers get up. What was your opinion on that one, mate?
On the Packers game,
Yeah, the Packers and Steelers.
man, the Packers, they're playing good football, man. Like,
Bloody hell.
I'm actually really excited to see the Packers playing well because I don't think it's something we necessarily expect. And we highlighted it last week. About all the drama that's been around, Aaron Rodgers and will he be good enough? Like, will he feel like playing this season? Is he tapped out? Has he had enough of the NFL? Uh,
Talk.
Fair to say, Aaron Rodgers hasn't had enough of the NFL. Maybe the NFL's had enough of Aaron Rodgers. Like, 2 tutties, 248 yards. They're good numbers, man, for a quarterback of any age.
Yeah, bloody oath, mate. Like, and it just seems to be just like we're just walking through them. They absolutely exploded in the second and third quarter. Never really got close. They took their foot off the pedal, so it made us see the Steelers like look a little bit closer than what they were. You know, like your side mirrors on your car, like the objects are closer than they appear. It was not the case in this one. They took the foot off. It was closer than it should have been. But man, like Packers just far too good at the moment, especially for a team like the Steelers. And how great it is after week one, everyone wrote off the Packers and everyone wrote off Aaron Rodgers, and all we've done is just won 3 in a row. So good job, the Packers. Go Pack, go! Aaron Rodgers, absolute beast. Probably win MVP this season like he did last season, but playing phenomenal football. We have 2 games left so far. So then we had the Ravens and the Broncos. Ravens get this one 27. Speaking of Lamar Jackson, he's only putting together another MVP-worthy resume again. Game was over once Bridgewater got injured, though, and they had to bring Drew Lock in. As great as the Broncos defense is, they have not and cannot win with Lock starting, so no surprises there. Ravens are obviously a top 5, top 3 maybe team, and you're just not going to get it done with Drew Lock. And then to finish it up, this is my personal favorite game of the week. I know you loved it too, mate. Such a storyline heading into this one. There was so much hype, and it lived up to it. Absolute showdown of Brady's offense versus Belichick's defense. Richard Sherman surprisingly got his first start after all that talk of him not actually playing this week. And he did not disappoint either. Not to take anything away from the heir apparent success out of TB12, Mac Jones, who was efficient other than 1 interception for the whole night, but he was absolutely helped in no ways by that lack of running game. I think the overall running yards that they gathered for the game was -1 as a team. So yeah, you couldn't have asked too much more from the rookie quarterback. I think it was 31 from 40, 275 yards, but it just got absolutely no help from the ground. Brady struggled against a diverse defensive scheme from Bill. He was unlucky to get a couple very big uncharacteristic drops from Antonio Brown, almost in back-to-back plays in the end zone, and he just fumbled it. It doesn't usually happen. Could have won the game like that. Unfortunately, they ended up just getting the field goal. And then Pats had a chance at the end of the game to win, to take it home as well. It just started absolutely raining out of nowhere. It was coming down sideways. They marched the ball up the field. A couple penalties against the Buccaneers, which I thought were weren't there, but whatever. Marched up the field. Mac Jones has only been picking apart the secondary all day. And then they opt to go for the field goal from almost 60 out with the rain like it was. They missed the field goal. Bucks win. Rest is history. Tampa Bay starts 3-1 as Pats fall to 1-3. Couldn't be happier for either team. Screw the Pats for what they've done to Cam Newton as well as Tom Brady. And let's go Bucks. Let's get Brady another ring. What do you reckon?
Yeah, well, Tom Brady talked about how cold the goodbye was between him and Bill Belichick on the way out, so I'm sure it would have been nice for Tom to get the win. His first game back against New England. So Well, you got to be happy with that. 19 and 17. I believe Tampa Bay missed a field goal earlier in the game as well, which would have made that gap a little bit less, uh, not so cozy. Uh,
Definitely.
would have made the unconverted touchdown the difference, but nonetheless, Tampa Bay get away with it. Yeah, Mac Jones, I thought he played really well. Like, I think New England played pretty good. Like, realistically,
No, they did.
they played pretty good. Rushing wasn't really their thing. The most yards they got was 4 rushing.
Yeah.
And then it goes, the next 3 are 0, 0, then -1, then -4 in rushing yards. So that's how good their rushing yards were. But Tom Brady didn't pass for a tutty all game.
No.
But,
No interceptions, but no
but,
tutties.
but, he did pass the all-time passing yards. He's
Yeah.
he's now he's
Congratulations.
now
Congratulations, Tom.
surpassed Drew Brees. It was only inevitable,
Yeah, definitely.
considering how long he's played.
Yeah.
But Fournette was really good. I thought he played really well actually.
Lenny was unreal, yeah.
Yeah, Fournette was real good. Evans was great. Actually,
Fantastic.
I messaged you during the game. I said Evans is
Yeah.
playing really well. 7 receptions for 75 yards. Antonio Brown 7 receptions, 63 yards. Like they're good numbers. Like that, Richard Sherman 7 tackles. Like the Bucks played well.
Yeah,
I don't think there's too much you can say about it except the Bucks played well against a struggling New England side.
definitely.
They probably should have played better if we're going to look at it in an honest way.
Yeah.
With names like Richard Sherman, who people say he's washed, but he's not. People only say
No.
that people say they're washed, and then they join a team that has some good players on, and all of a sudden they're a great player again.
Yeah.
But the Bucks probably should have played better, if we're going to be honest about it. But
No, definitely.
I won't get caught
Yeah,
up on it.
sometimes the story just does get in the way. Like in a game where they should have decimated, like they probably should have won by 50 on paper. But like such a storyline going into this, I feel like it was always kind of going to have to be this close. Like I said, on paper, like you reckon as well, there should have been a blowout. It shouldn't have been close. But I feel like it was always going to be just because of the storyline of the Tom Brady returning. So now Tom Brady has actually beat every single NFL team at the Patriots Stadium now. So congratulations, Tom, for that one. I don't think anyone's ever done that before either. Thank you, Tom. Uh,
Such a
so that
special
wraps
talent,
up.
man. Imagine if he does play till 50.
Oh, you can. You keep a good O line in front of him, and why not? The way they protect the quarterbacks these days, yeah, they could definitely play till 50.
He still rushed today. He still ran the ball.
He can run the ball. If you just leave him there, he will take it.
He ran the ball. He ran it today. He ran it last week.
Yeah.
We were joking last week that he ran the ball, but he ran the ball again.
Yeah, he was the lead. Yeah, I think last week he was the leading rusher on the team, which is you don't want that.
No,
But,
no, he did. He had 4 attempts to rush for 4 yards today. So, I mean,
just keep it moving, mate. I was like, still go.
I didn't see those runs, but I assume he ran it out just to stop the clock.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it either. But
know.
yeah, I imagine if I was watching, I wouldn't have missed it.
You wouldn't get caught up on it.
Yeah, I would have had some time to catch it. Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, that wraps up Tampa Bay. Beautiful. Love to see that one. Awesome. Which just leaves one game for us tomorrow. Week 4 of the NFL season wraps up tomorrow at 10:20 with the Las Vegas Raiders against the LA Chargers. Both teams are scorching hot, coming off big wins against the Dolphins and Chiefs, respectively, and the Raiders remain the only team left undefeated. The Raiders lead the NFL in total yards and total passing yards per game, with the Chargers not far behind them with the 4th highest yards. This honestly has the makings to be the game of the week, and I can't wait for it. The spread on this one has the Raiders as 3-point favorites, which will be crucial in a game likely decided by a field goal, in my opinion. Derek Carr and Justin Herbert have been phenomenal, and it should just be a shootout to pretty much whoever has the ball last. I'm liking Raiders to win this one, but I don't like them to cover the 3. I reckon it's probably going to be between the 1 and the 3 to win this game. Absolute 2 colossal offenses going against each other. Super exciting. What's your take on this one, mate?
Yeah, I've actually got the Raiders as well. But I think it's probably the game of the week, really. Or if not the New England one, but probably didn't meet all the hype. But the storyline
just for the story.
The storyline had its own thing going on, so it's not really a big deal. But yeah, this could be the game of the week. 2 really informed teams. The Raiders playing beautiful football, and same with the Chargers. I hate to say this, but Chargers, might be the number. It's a very close contest in LA at the moment as who's the number 1 football team.
Are you saying the Rams are the Clippers?
No, the Rams are the Lakers. Don't you dare. The Rams are the Lakers, and the Chargers are the Clippers. But the Clippers had a great season last season, uh, but it fizzled out.
It did. It did.
um,
But,
so I guess what I'm trying to say is the Rams are better, but the Chargers looking better right now. They are looking like the better team in LA right now.
yeah, they're both hot. Both hot.
Because I think we scraped our way through that Bucks game last week against with the Rams Bucks game, but I think the Chargers have just looked so confident in their football. They'll give them a fair chance to beat the Raiders, but I think the Raiders will come out on top when it comes to the end of the fourth.
No, definitely. I agree entirely. Anyone can win this game. I think Raiders should win it. Credit to both LA teams, both almost as hot as each other. Herbert's looking unreal. Raiders have been phenomenal. Henry Ruggs has taken an absolute leap this year. Yeah, it's going to be a great game. I can't wait for it. Yeah, I probably do have about 1-3 Raiders taking this one. But yeah, looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, I reckon probably Raiders by 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, Raiders by
They're
3.
usually pretty spot on with the spreads, aren't they?
Yeah, Raiders by 3. All right.
Well,
Yeah, take us away.
yeah, no, too easy, mate. Well, I was actually going to lead this way in for you because it's finally time almost to start talking about NBA, mate. So I'll let you take us away with our NBA segment for this today's show.
Yeah, that's right. I want to talk about what's been happening with the Philadelphia 76ers and the absolute mayhem that's been happening over there. There's words leaking out that Joel Embiid's fed up with Ben Simmons now. He's been trying to go salvage what's happening there, but Ben doesn't want a bar of it. It's been said that there's a bunch of players from the 76ers all trying to get a hold of Ben or trying to go and see him. Well, I think he's in LA at the moment, isn't he?
I believe so. I
And
think it's hot down in LA, yeah.
I think the whole team was talking about flying, or a bunch of the key players were thinking about flying over to LA and giving him a hand, like having a chat to him and see if they could kind of salvage it, almost like that Blake Griffin situation from years ago.
Definitely.
But Ben's not playing ball. He doesn't want to see anyone. He doesn't want to talk to anyone. He just wants to get out of Philly. And it's a really sad way to end the partnership or the relationship Ben Simmons and Philly have had. And I honestly hate to see the way this is sort of breaking down, but the only way I'm seeing this working for Ben Simmons is he's just hurting his trade value at this point. I don't think this is doing him any favors. But he's probably going to get what he wants realistically at some point or another, with a few teams interested in having him. But the more he drags this out, the worse it gets for himself, I think.
Look, honestly, I couldn't agree more. I feel like the city of Philly invested so much into Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid for the whole trust the process. Like, people got fired for these people's careers, and like the first time there's a bit of adversity, and like when there's actually expectations, it is cuts tail and run. Obviously, I hate the whole situation. I think you're right. He's going to get what he wants at the end of the day because they're going to have to trade him. Would they care more about winning games in the regular season than getting some money back from finding him? This trade value is definitely going to tank, so it's going to be a painful process. Don't trust the process, but it's going to be a painful one. Yeah, it's only just going to hurt Philadelphia even more. Like, it's one thing to just want to leave, but you're just hurting the city even more because now they're not even going to get back what they should really get for someone like yourself. Like if you just played your games out, people would have traded for you because they're still going to see like you're a regular season demon. But like, man, people just wanted you to shoot the ball a bit more, and then now this is where we are. Like, I don't know. It hurts to see how it goes. Obviously, Aussie as well, but man, yeah, what an absolute sad story.
Yeah, it's a bit of it's a sad way to end his time in Philly. And I think there's a lot of people hurt by it, including his own teammates. And look, I don't know where he's going to end up. No one really knows where he's going to end up right now. But it's one of the all-time dummy splits as far as NBA goes. And it's true. All the criticism is true. He does just need to shoot the ball. There's nothing else to it. He just needs to shoot the ball. And no one cares. No one cares if he misses because we know that he's not going to be great. We know he's not the best, but we just need him to shoot. We need, or not we. I'm not a Philly fan, but they just need Ben to shoot the ball to give them a chance. If it misses, so be it. It's better than someone else that can't shoot taking the shot as well. Like, he's such a tall guy and such skillful player that it's weird that he doesn't want to shoot. It's in his own head at this point. So, look, I don't know, but I want to move on to the next part of our NBA segment, and that is the Avengers Lakers. They lost in their first preseason match today against the Boston. Sorry, not Boston. The Brooklyn Nets. Uh, concerned? Are we concerned?
1,000% not. Look, there's no shame in losing to Brooklyn Nets the best of times, and especially in a preseason game, the very first one at that. Not concerned about this. Concerned about the roster, but not concerned about the preseason. This preseason loss. If everyone can stay fully healthy, and you know better than anyone, or you're wishing more than anyone, this team can be special. Absolute collection of all stars or Hall of Famers, pretty much. Like this has the potential makings to be an absolute. It could either be rocks or diamonds, pretty much. Like it's not gonna end either way. But that, like, I'm looking forward to it. I actually have the Lakers picked to win the championship this year because I think all their little bones can hold together just for one more season. Russell Westbrook and LeBron James don't really mesh together, but you can't have these two amazing players and not good things happen. Like, it's gonna work. Like, just because it doesn't sound like it works on paper doesn't mean it won't work, because it will. The only thing stopping them is themselves. Just got to stay healthy. I'm looking forward to the Lakers this year, man.
Yeah, well, that's right. It's definitely that's where my concern is, and I think that's where the concern of a lot of Lakers fans are, the ones that aren't looking through rose-colored glasses about this season. Realizing that a lot of these players have passed their prime, but they're still very skillful. Um, is that it's only a couple of injuries away from this season really falling apart. Having said that, our bench is very deep. It's a very deep bench. Like,
I'm invested in the bench. The bench gets no credit, but it is a nice
our
bench.
last member of the bench is Malik Monk.
I'll take it. He just been struggling in Charlotte, not getting enough play time. He's a really good player.
Yeah, no, he's a great player.
Yeah,
And I think he's better for being out of Charlotte. That's for sure. I think
definitely.
the whole of Charlotte is a mess. Uh,
Yeah.
it's a mess, and it has been for a long time. Especially when they were giving guys like Bacon like ridiculous amounts of money to do nothing.
Michael
Uh,
Kidd Gilchrist.
Michael Kidd Gilchrist,
Go
like
on.
it's it.
Was it Fournier that was there as well? I know
Yeah,
Batum. Batum.
Batum. He
Oh
was
my
get.
god.
I think Batum was getting like 30 mil a year.
It was something like
I
that.
remember looking it up and like, I wonder how much Batum. And it was 30 mil a year to do nothing. He was scoring like less than. He was getting single digits a game. It
Yeah.
wasn't even. He was getting single digit assists. Like, what was he offering? And so
I could got no answer.
and so I think it's really good. Uh, to have Malik Monk over at the Lakers. I think the bench is deep, but all I'm saying is there's a lot of players around that 35, 36, 37 mark, and that's when injuries start to become a bit more frequent. Obviously, we had that massive groin issue with LeBron only a couple of years ago, and
And it was like that was his like first real injury.
remember how long he was out for that? Like,
Yeah, it was like half the season, and he came back and he was not the same.
no, he was really, really bothered by it, and so we ended up missing the playoffs. But it will be
Yeah.
interesting to see how Russell Westbrook and LeBron work together. We were talking about last night. One of our mates said that how scary it is that LeBron can actually play just one position this year.
Yeah, definitely.
He doesn't have to play the one through the four really. Like
Yeah.
it'll be an interesting season how see how LeBron goes and how that mixture works because obviously LeBron's used to dishing out a lot of the assists, whereas so is Russell Westbrook, Mr. Triple Double himself. Um, I don't know, man. Could be a really exciting season in LA. But do you reckon? So you reckon you're picking Lakers to come out and top in La La Land?
I think I think they'll win I'll pick them to win the championship, but I reckon they will finish better than the Clippers will. That team downhill might be the most dangerous team in the entire competition.
So
Like,
much finals experience too.
oh, incredible amounts of it. Russell Westbrook, this is like his like kid makes good moment. Like, this is like it is like everything's kind of building to this. LeBron's got so many shooters around him. We said Malik Monk, but Wayne Ellington as well. But when you're just running down for the fast break after Russell Westbrook grabs that rebound, he's going to steal off Anthony Davis, and he's like going 1,000 miles an hour down the court. Someone's going to be open. It's going to be LeBron for the dunk, or it's going to be any of those shooters because you're going to have to collapse on Russell Westbrook. Like, it has like a lot of potential. They definitely win the battle of LA. They just need to move Clippers back to Buffalo at this point. I don't know what they're doing. They always want to talk, but it's Laker town, baby. Yeah, I'm taking Lakers to definitely beat the Clippers, and my pick to win the championship. Yeah, good times coming, hopefully, for Lakers.
Yeah, it could be. It won't be like the Clippers Lob City, but there might be a fair few alley oops happening this season. I reckon.
I would say so.
Oh man, it's It's gonna be really good. Did you hear the talks the other day about Dwayne Wade potentially coming back?
I'm changing my championship pick if that actually does end up happening. And if that happens, it's just going to remind me way too much of it. Was it 2004 where Shaq and Kobe got like Karl Malone and Gary Payton and everyone else to come to there because they were going to win the chip, and then they ended up just they bombed. They took over the regular season, but then just bombed in the actual finals. It, it's shades of that if he ends up coming out of retirement because you need all those roster spots like we were talking about before for the age that everyone is and the possible injury problems you might
You'll be
face,
using
you're
one
going
through
to need
10.
all 15 spots.
Yeah,
Oh,
one
yeah,
through 15.
to 15,
Yeah,
like absolutely to 15. Dwight Howard and is it Jordan are the centers now?
yeah,
Uh, that's like like my back hurts thinking about that. Like I like their team, like, but you're probably going to need another backup. Like
yeah,
you don't want to waste that spot on Dwayne Wade. Love me some Dwayne Wade, but don't do it, fam.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I it's been really it was such a feel good story when Dwayne Wade came back. Not Dwayne Wade. Dwight Howard came back to Lakers.
definitely.
And had such a good season, like really made up for all that drama that happened when he was there with Kobe. And he obviously, I was so disappointed as a Lakers fan to see him go to Philly last season. So it's not so nice to have him back for probably one of his last seasons. Like he's definitely getting towards that end of his career. Um,
Mm.
obviously, DeAndre Jordan, like he was a Clippers boy, and now he's over with us. Like crazy stuff. So I don't know, too hard to say, but obviously my heart says Lakers this season. I think there's going to be too many ego conflicts in Boston and Brooklyn again, like there was last season. And obviously there's a bunch of issues with Kyrie and what he's going to do, so I'm just not sure.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Cool. Well, I reckon that's probably going to bring us to the end of the Collateral Spods podcast for another week. Wasti, thanks for being here again. It's been a good time. But we're going to wrap it up here. But make sure you're back here later in the week. Make sure you're following our Twitch and our YouTube to stay up to date when our Collateral podcast, the one talking about esports and gaming, is coming up later this week. We'd love to have you there. There's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about there. One of them just broke. The news just broke today, so there's going to be a fair bit of dissecting happening on that story regarding what's happening with some teams that were supposed to be flying to the US today to be playing in a very big Valorant tournament next week or the week after. So make sure you're there. Follow, subscribe, do what you need to do. But other than that, we're going to get out of here. But have a lovely rest of your week and peace out.
Cheers, champions.